Hello, school board members and public. This is Phil Fry, Director of Business and Finance, giving an update on the budget forecasting and planning, which is going to the school board on Monday, January 29th, 2024. And just to let you know, this is a short version. On Monday night, I'll give a little bit longer version of a presentation, but we wanted to give you the short version to put in your board packet. So why do we do budget forecasting, and how, if you've been on the school board, you've maybe heard this before, but just as to talk about that. So why we do budget forecasting, really to proactively plan for future budgets of Sun Prairie School District. We want to make sure that we have resources available to meet the community's and school board's expectations as outlined in the monitoring reports. So that's why we do it. How we do it, we use two different models, Robert W. Baird's and Forecast 5. We look at past spending and project future spending based off of that. We really try to estimate future state revenue, and we estimate our future enrollments. Those are the big inputs into budget forecasting. So the key assumptions for this year in our budget forecasting: we're going to use enrollment growth of 60 students next year. And then the following years, we'll use the University of Wisconsin projections. I should mention the budget forecast is for 5 years going out. We're going to use a $325 revenue limit, which has been approved by the state of Wisconsin for next year. We're also going to use that $325 for the remaining 4 years, which that's obviously an estimate at this point. At this point, though the school board has discretion or authority over salaries, I've used a 5% salary increase for 24-25, a 4% for 25-26, and then a 3% for the remaining 3 years. I have health insurance going up by 3% a year. Again, that's an item the school board will have to wrestle with in the near future. A reminder that our federal ESSER money runs out with this fiscal year. There's a little bit of carryover in the 24-25, but basically ESSER money runs out this year. That our operating referendum that we passed in November of 2022, that the 24-25 budget is the final year of that $3 million added. And then we also have a large increase to the budget of $1 million in the TLE's budget to purchase 6th through 12th grade literacy and math materials. That's a need that has shown up, and we put that on our budget strategy map, and a need that we need to increase the budget for TLE by $1 million. So with those inputs, what does the modeling show? Again, you can see the years, 5-year model. We have again, 2 different model forecasts. I use 2 different model forecasts just to kind of verify numbers. And you can see that next fiscal year, 24-25, we're running about a $3.1 million deficit, and it grows after that to, 5 million, 6 million, 8 million. And if you go out 10 years, assuming that we didn't pass a referendum or make budget cuts, we'd be running $10 million deficit each year. So why the deficits? I've talked to the school board quite a bit about this, but just to emphasize again, school funding by the state of Wisconsin has not kept up with inflationary cost or the emerging needs of students based on what the community and the school board expects from our district. The $325 increase by the state of Wisconsin may sound like a lot of money to some people, but if you put it that we spend about $13,000 per student, that $325 really represents a 2.5% increase in our budget on a per pupil basis. And you'll see later that does not keep up with inflation or what we need to do. The chart on the bottom is just showing that difference, that if we would receive what inflationary increases are to our revenue cap versus what the state has given us, we're at a gap of $3,235. In other words, if we kept up with inflation for each year, we would be able to spend $3,235 more per student. Again, a huge funding deficit. per pupil. So how will the 24-25 budget deficit be handled? We've senior leaders have met, and we're really gonna, for next year, we're gonna use what we have as a designated fund balance, what we've called budget stabilization. The school board's been very proactive in setting money aside in prior years for budget stabilization. So we will use our budget stabilization to cover the 24-25 budget. So what about future deficits? Again, I said it's not just next year budget, but we have the next 5 years, we have budget deficits. So the first thing is, I mentioned we use budget stabilization for next year, but using fund balance is not sustainable over a long term. And we don't have enough fund balance to do that either. So that's not sustainable. So we will need to explore one of the following options. One, we could be looking at about a $7 million budget reduction within the next 3 years. So we could reduce our budget, which is about 5% of our overall budget, or again, $7 million. We could have go back to a referendum, an operating referendum to cover those deficits like we did back in November of 2022. Or it could be a combination of those things. It could be we need to do some reductions. The board could say we need to make reductions, and we could go to referendum. So those are really the options that we have at this point. Trying to advance the slide here. I guess we're at the last slide. So again, this was a short presentation at the board meeting on Monday night. You'll hear a longer presentation with more detail about some of the slides I went over. We'll add some slides, but we just wanted to give you a real short presentation now and kind of give you as a primer for Monday night. We'll see you Monday night. Thank you.